would have reported you for barging into my house." Ken Swan was bewildered, stammering, I'm the Grandmaster here to give gifts, like Santa Claus." Wu Yan shook her head and replied, "Is there such a thing as free gifts in this world? Are you trying to rob me of my land?" Ken Swan gaped, flustered as if thinking, "Why is this kid full of questions like this?" After saying that, he turned to chase me away. "You ought to give me the battle physique to rouse my interest, so the war commander can give their life, and then you can visit my fields, right? Luckily, I am handsome and intelligent." Ken Swan rushed over to pull me back. "No, who needs your fields?" Wu Yan immediately cut him off. "Enough. With your intelligence, it's going to be a long time before you trick me." Saying that, I slammed the door shut and yelled loudly, "I still have to tend to the garden tomorrow. I'm going to sleep now." Ken Swan, rushing forward, couldn't stop in time and crashed right into the door. Holy crap! He held his forehead, swelling up with a big bump. Feeling both pain and frustration, he grudgingly said, "Nice, very spirited. All right, you don't want to fight, ka?" After saying that, he immediately transformed into the battle physique armor. Ken Swan broke through the door, controlling the thorn earth armor, charged towards me and shouted, "I absolutely want you to fight." The battle physique armor immediately merged with my body. Feeling the overwhelming power, I turned back to look at him with suspicion. Ken Swan grinned slyly, pulled me closer and said, "Hemph, it's cold at night. The Grandmaster is adding some clothes for you. It seems reasonable, right?" In my mind, I quietly thought, now that he gives me the war god body, even if I don't want to fight, the war god body will silently drag me to the battlefield. The next day, in a small village, an old farmer stood in the middle of a field, holding a hand rake in his mouth. He shouted loudly, "Kids, look closely here." As soon as he finished speaking, the old man flipped in the air and landed on the ground, drawing a straight line with the rake he was holding in his mouth. The children widened their eyes in admiration and exclaimed, "Wow, you are amazing, old man." The old farmer was left with just one leg and had lost both his arms. Nevertheless, he stood tall and proud, speaking in a deep voice, "Hemph, do you kids know that I used to face demonic spirits that were much more powerful? If it weren't for that battle that left me disabled, I wouldn't have ended up having to farm like this." The children sighed in awe. "Wow, you really are cool." In the Western region, farming was usually reserved for the disabled, those who were unfit to serve in the army. At that moment, a young man with a handsome appearance approached. He was Wu Yan, a person without a throat gland and listed as severely disabled. Wu Yan raised his hand to greet, "Good morning, everyone." Seeing this, the children curiously asked the old man, "Hey, Grandpa, who is that person?" The old man didn't turn around, scoffed coldly, and replied with disdain, "Just a useless person. Only people like him grow crops here. You kids should never follow in their footsteps." Wu Yan didn't hear that conversation. He just smiled, thinking to himself, "The people here are indeed very friendly. They must be complimenting me on my good looks." Wu Yan happily looked at the small rice plant before him, a hint of playfulness sparkling in his eyes. He thought to himself, "Yesterday I dreamed of being bestowed with battle physique by some crazy guy. If that were true, wouldn't I be forced onto the battlefield? Fighting a damned battle is not my goal. Supporting my family is my dream." The old disabled man standing nearby glanced at Wu Yan and sarcastically said, "Brat, you spent the whole day yesterday just to plant a tiny rice plant. Look at me, I've tended to 10 acres of land without complaining a word." The group of children beside them pointed at Wu Yan, laughing loudly, "Useless, useless." Wu Yan tried to ignore the taunts. He furrowed his brow, thinking, "My weakness is something I deliberately maintain. If I were as strong as them, wouldn't I end up on the battlefield too? My wish isn't to become a killer." With that thought, Wu Yan picked up the hoe and struck the ground with all his might. The indentation was only a few centimeters deep. Seeing this, the old man burst into derisive laughter, his tone dripping with mockery. "Ha! The force of that swing is even less than my little grandson." But as soon as he finished speaking, an immense energy suddenly burst forth from the hoe's strike. The energy shot out for hundreds of meters, blowing away the surrounding earth and stones. This spectacle left the old man and the group of children astonished, their eyes wide open, unable to utter a word. In an instant, the whirlwind swept over them, blowing away the two strong children, limbs intact. In the end, only the old man, who was missing arms and legs, stood firm, shouting loudly. The effort of days and nights of plowing and planting, now all ruined because of this damn thing. What is this that destroys my field? Is this a worthless thing? Even Zhu Wuyan did not expect things to turn out this way. He sighed and mumbled, "Honestly, all I wanted was to return to my hometown to raise more fish and grow more vegetables. Yet I can't have peace. Oh my God, what is this?" Meanwhile, the Mao Renclan brothers were busy recruiting candidates. Instead of making a proper announcement or organizing a loud campaign, Mao Man simply carved the 3 words "War God Rock" onto a large stone. Whoever could strike it and leave their mark would be selected. Seeing this, Mao Mo angrily shouted, "Mao Man, how are you recruiting people like this? The strongest can only leave one handprint on the War God Rock, and now even a dog is participating. Recruiting people like this, how am I supposed to explain it to the general? Or do you want me to get beaten up for this?" At this moment, Mao Man sincerely felt remorse and softly apologized to her brother. "Brother, I was wrong. I checked all the remaining people, but I found no war god at all. Currently, there is only a farmer without cultivation, and he is also unwilling to train." Hearing this, Mao Mo was furious, his face even more flushed. "What? A person without cultivation, and you still expect him to be a war god? The demonic spirit is right in front of us. Do you think he can cultivate in one day and become strong, then easily defeat the evil spirit?" Mao Mo continued to scold his sister. Meanwhile, suddenly a whirlwind appeared, rushing straight towards Mao Man. Seeing this, she immediately shouted, "Brother, be careful. It looks like something is coming." Mao Mo didn't pay any attention, just stood there scoffing. "What careful? I am a divine transformation realm. Do I still need to be afraid?" Then he turned to look at Mao Man. "Oh, are you trying to divert my attention so I won't punish you? I must teach you so you remember for life." As he spoke, Mao Mo waved his hand intending to strike Mao Man. But before he could do anything, a surge of strength unexpectedly pushed him straight into the War God Rock. The impact caused a large crack in the stone, and Mao Mo was knocked backward, falling to the ground, unconscious. Mao Man hurriedly ran to his side, shouting, "Brother, are you okay?" It doesn't stop there. The lightning bolts from it still surged like a storm. The incident happened so unexpectedly that she couldn't react in time. Immediately, the boulder was shattered into pieces in an instant. Although she didn't know who had done this, it seemed she had found a promising candidate for this season. "War God of Rock, shattered, shattered. It's me who is shattered. What kind of power is this?" Zhu Wuyan was no less astonished. He couldn't believe that a road several hundred meters long was completely destroyed by his power. He was still skeptical about life. Is this really my doing? I don't have cultivation, do I? If that's the case, then the person he met last night must have been real, and the power transmitted to him was also real. At that moment, Wu Yan finally understood everything. Could it be that last night was not a dream? Not only did I obtain a battle physique, but it's also a very formidable battle physique. Without waiting for himself to recover after the painful strike to the Mao brothers, he immediately soared on his sword, seeking that person with the miraculous strength. Where is the noble person who unleashed the strongest blow? At this moment, Mao Mo was even more excited, thinking that his brother had utterly destroyed his life. But where did this war god arise from, fearless in displaying his power for the brothers to admire? Noble person, the one who must definitely be the new war god in the Divine Presence's words, right? Please, manifest your great compassion and accompany me to save the sentient beings. While the elder brother was praying to heaven and Buddha in hopes of seeing that sage, Mao Mo had also detected the presence of Wu Yan nearby. Wu Yan is here too. Hearing someone mention his name, Wu Yan turned around in surprise. Mao Mo then casually asked about the whereabouts of the war god. "Hey beggar, do you know if anyone was here just now?" Wu Yan broke out in a cold sweat. "Oh no, clearly I want to be at peace, but heaven won't allow it." Filled with panic and sweating profusely, he still tried to maintain his composure. "I must be very careful. I can't let anything slip. Thinking thus, Wu Yan stammered in response. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything at all. Miao looked at him trembling like a dried fish and cast a suspicious glance. Really? Then why are you shaking so much? Are you hiding something? Wu Yan took a deep breath, trying to regain his calm to justify himself. I'm just a gardener. I was born with a trembling condition. I sweat as soon as I move. Hearing this, Miao nodded thoughtfully. Oh, that makes sense. After all, gardeners are often not very healthy. At that moment, Wu Yan secretly thanked his identity as a gardener for saving his life. Phew, thankfully my profession. Long live the farmers. He sighed in relief, thinking he had escaped from the 80th calamity. But just then, the 81st calamity unexpectedly struck. From a distance, an old man, gravely injured and covered in mud, suddenly dashed forward, shouting, "No, it was him. That move was done by him. He even erased my feelings too." And then his nephew added a few more blows. That's right, this older brother is quite formidable. That old man is the real waste. It's over, this life is considered wasted. Not understanding the old man's words, Miao angrily stomped his foot and silkily walked towards Wu Yan. At this moment, Wu Yan was trembling while desperately trying to defend himself. A noble person they mentioned just now, your humble servant could not possibly have such power. Your humble servant is just a farmer. Isn't everyone a farmer? What are you all blabbering about? Ignoring his explanation, Miao suddenly slapped Wu Yan with a crushing blow. He clenched his fists, gritting his teeth and threatening, "Tell me the truth. If you don't reveal the whereabouts of that noble person, I will beat you to death." Wu Yan was in a state of extreme panic. He thought to himself, "I have stumbled into a fire ant's nest. This time, I will surely die." Just as Wu Yan was searching for a way out, Mao's younger sister, Mao Mei, who stood nearby, could not bear her brother's violent temper and spoke up to intervene. "Brother, what are you doing?" Mao turned around with a firm voice, "Mind your own business." With that, he drew out his 5-foot-long blade. Mao's face was filled with killing intent, and his eyes sparkled with a terrifying madness. "Anyone who obstructs my path to promotion has but one principle: to live, one must die." He pointed the tip of his blade directly at Wu Yan's face. At that moment, Wu Yan felt like he was plunged into despair. Am I really going to die? The space around him dimmed. In that darkness, the sound of his heartbeat echoed loudly in Wu Yan's mind. He closed his eyes, trying to listen. What is that sound? Is my heart speaking? The heart in his chest beat rapidly, like a war drum pounding fiercely. A voice emerged from deep within. "Go fight." Wu Yan placed his hand on his chest to feel it, and his eyes gleamed with determination. An idea flashed through his mind. Fight. Can I do it? Going into battle but not fighting back, his heart beat calmly as if reassuring his own soul. That voice echoed again. Don't be afraid. Looking down, Wu Yan opened his eyes, curiously observing. In his sight was the image of a fragile blade of grass, nearly crushed underfoot. From deep within his heart, the encouraging voice rang out, "Go fight." Mao swung her sword towards him, shouting, "Die for me." But Wu Yan unexpectedly sat down, narrowly dodging the blade by mere inches. Mao saw this, furrowed her brows tightly, and yelled, "Don't." Just as she finished speaking, her face took the full brunt of an axe in a state of confusion. A huge bright blue force suddenly surged from his body. The intensity of that blue light was so overwhelming that the two people nearby had to flee in haste. They ran while exclaiming, "Oh yeah, here we go again." Mailman was also astonished, mouth agape. What? Is this the move from earlier? As the power began to dissipate, Wu Yan ran to pick up the grass. His face was full of anger as he shouted, "Hey, you can kill me, but how dare you trample on the crops I painstakingly planted?" On Wu Yan's face, the will to fight was blazing. He clenched the blade of grass in his hand and yelled, "Be careful, I will kill you." The only thing Wu Yan cared about was his rice field. But Mailman rushed out, spreading her arms in front of her brother, pleading, "Wu Yan, please don't kill him. This is my rice. I will compensate you." The other person pointed directly at her, looking fierce. Fine, but you must compensate with an amount according to market value. Moreover, if you dare to reveal my strength to the outside, I will kill you." She responded softly, "Yes." She opened her eyes wide to look at him, then turned to leave, thinking to herself, with that last move from Wu Yan, could it be that the one who previously defeated the war god of rock is really him? She continued her thoughts. This means that Wu Yan has always been the war god. 2 hours later, 2 men rode on their swords flying back. One quickly asked, did he return to the team without reporting to the marshal? Before the other could answer, his brother cut in, "Speak outside and you will die." She helplessly interjected, "Let's assume we never discovered the war god." Mao Mo lay flat on the sword and added, "Moreover, demonic spirit is not demon clan. Even without the war god, we will definitely win." Mao Man's expression suddenly turned pale. He pointed with a trembling hand, but at first still tried to stay calm. But what? Then his expression changed to one of extreme horror. Before them, the battlefield was filled with corpses, drenched in blood. The bodies of the human race were strewn everywhere, indicating a catastrophic defeat. Up high, a demonic spirit commander of the peak divine transformation realm stuck out his red tongue. Laughing mockingly, "Haha, after 100,000 years, you human race still can't withstand such a blow." The sound of armor clattering rang out. A person struggled to get up from amidst the pile of corpses. It was Marshal Marcus Marshall of the low-grade divine transformation realm. He braced himself up with a spear, coughing out loudly. Cough! In his heart, he silently thought, is the demonic spirit really taking action this time? But is just one commander this strong? The marshal turned his head, his voice deepening. "Soldiers, when I granted you the war god of rock before, did anyone find the war god?" The injured soldiers lowered their heads and spoke softly. "Sorry, Marshal, we couldn't find him." The marshal sighed as he turned away. "Is that so?" His gaze became contemplative. The prophecy from 100,000 years ago said that the war god would return to the mortal realm to save the suffering, yet now there is still no trace of the war god. Divine presence, could it be nothing but a lie? Seeing him stagger, the soldiers worriedly called out, "Marshal." The marshal bowed his head, his voice low yet resolute. "Immortal ancestor war god." Suddenly his eyes lit up, and his entire being burst forth with power. He shouted, "Descend to help me." As soon as he finished speaking, he jumped onto his horse, pulling the reins with great force, his eyes filled with determination. The soldiers exclaimed in panic, "Marshal Marcus, your body is already exhausted. Charging forward now could lead to death." The marshal laughed heartily. "Haha. At this point, what is there to worry about? The human race must continue to live." His eyes shone brightly, and his previously dark face was illuminated by a golden light, adding to his formidable presence. He urged his horse forward, shouting, "We can only exchange lives for lives." The marshal galloped straight towards the demonic spirit commander, who was hovering in midair. The commander licked his lips and sneered, "Hey, a lowly creature wants to trade its life for that of a mighty beast." Immediately he raised his long, untrimmed claws, which had not been cut for thousands of years, and swept the marshal off his horse. Seeing him fall, Mao Man couldn't help but shout in worry, "Marshal Marcus Marshall." She quickly rushed over, intending to catch him. "Don't, the human race can no longer hold on. I must go speak to the marshal." But Mao Mo stood in front of her, forcing her to stop. He shouted, "Stop! Do you want Zhu Wu Yan to kill you? If you dare to leave, be careful that I beat you to a pulp." A powerful slap struck Mao Man's face, her expression darkening, filled with immense anger. She commanded, "Go, a coward who only cares for himself, afraid of the strong oppressing the weak." Saying that, she drew her sword and charged off, not forgetting to assure, "I will handle it well." Mao Mo stood there, rubbing his painfully stinging face, silently blaming, "My sister, you're crazy, you dare to hit me." The gruesome battlefield appeared before him, surrounded only by corpses and billowing dust. Mao Man shouted, "Marshal Marcus Marshall, we have found the strategy, but I need time to invite you over." The marshal asked back, his voice deepening, "Is that so?" She confidently replied, 100% certain. The marshal declared loudly, "Then you should hurry. I will give you 1 hour. We will hold out until you return. She bowed in acknowledgement and responded, yes, 1 hour. Half an hour later, Wu Yan held the rope tightly, sighing. His teeth clenched, unable to endure any longer my life. Tears and snot welled up. He wondered, why couldn't I control myself and expose it like this? Now it's revealed, sooner or later I will be dragged to the battlefield, sacrificing my life. He thought to himself, rather than being killed by the demonic spirit, I might as well die myself. Mao Man called out, Wu Yan, what is he doing? He started, accidentally kicking the footrest. She didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Right now the human race is about to fall, and you still have the mood to play on a swing. Wu Yan was tangled tightly by the rope, struggling to break free. It's not me, I was just... Mao Man turned around, her eyes cold as she said, you don't need to say anything else. I have already revealed your identity to the Marshal Marcus. Now the human race needs you. Please follow me to battle. She didn't care at all for the person behind who was about to pass out. His whole body trembling, he desperately tried to say, no, no, not this, hurry and save me. She crossed her arms, not bothering to look back, continuing to say, aren't you going to answer me? Indeed, after all, your identity has been exposed. You will kill him. Wu Yan was nearly out of strength, his face turning purple as he whispered, no, I can't fly, hurry and save me. Mao Man frowned, her tone resolute. But as long as you are willing to lend a hand to the human race, I am ready to die in his place. Do you still refuse? At this moment, Wu Yan could no longer struggle and could only bid farewell to the world. Seeing that the other person refused to cooperate, she blushed and presented a coercive option. Didn't you say before that if I marry you, you would go to the battlefield? Wu Yan hesitated for a moment, then replied, all right, I can marry you. Behind Mao Man, a shining stream of spiritual energy radiated outwards. Wu Yan was the master of that source of spiritual power. His whole being felt revitalized, his body lifted, floating in midair. His sharp gaze swept over Mao Man, asking, is that true? For love, he suddenly learned how to soar in the air. After an hour, Marshal Marcus Marshall and the soldiers were desperately holding back the demonic spirit leader. He encouraged everyone, we must persevere. War God is our last hope. We must hold out longer. Everyone unitedly replied, yes. In the distance, two figures observed the situation. The one in elegant attire asked, noble person, why did you directly command the destruction of them? The one addressed, the demonic spirit Che King Ling Tong, sat on his chair and replied nonchalantly, earlier they said they have found the war god. I want to see what the war god looks like. The one beside him, demonic spirit 6 General Sai, asked, but it seems the human race can't hold out much longer. At that moment, Marshal Marcus Marshall was struck down by the demonic spirit leader's weapon. He yelled in rage, my battle spear. The demonic spirit leader wore a fierce expression, striking out, I'm bored now, go die. Marshall realized he was about to die. The soldiers below were extremely panicked, all calling out loudly, Marshall. A frail voice echoed from afar, Marshall. Mao Man persevered, she had brought War God here. Having said that, she pushed Wu Yan back towards the two combatants. Marshal Marcus Marshall was very surprised to see that Wu Yan was indeed the war god. The expression of the demonic spirit commander was not much different from that of the marshal. The demonic spirit commander exclaimed in shock, what? The human race can withstand my attack? Marshal Marcus Marshall and the soldiers were equally astonished. He stammered unintelligibly. The majestic figure of Zhu Wuyan made everyone sigh in wonder, but no one knew how terrified Wu Yan felt inside. This is the demonic spirit. Scary. Now I regret it. Is it too late to go home? He was so panicked that the sword he was holding fell from his hand, right before the eyes of both opposing sides. Both the allied and enemy factions were bewildered, questioning, is this the war god? But it seems like there is no cultivation. Ling Tong dismissively mocked, so it turns out to be a fake war god used to buy time. General, eliminate all these human race. The demonic spirit commander quickly replied affirmatively, then waved his hand to issue a command. All troops, heed my orders. As soon as he shouted to attack, the demonic spirit army surged forward to assault the human race. Zhu Wuyan was so taken aback that his hair stood on end. He shouted loudly, "What is with so many demonic spirits?" Marshal Marcus Marshall urgently commanded, "It's over, quickly abandon the battlefield." Taking advantage of the chaos, the demonic spirit commander rushed forward, intending to swiftly take down Wu Yan with one blow. He yelled frantically, "You were lucky to block before, but now I will eat you." Zhu Wuyan was so scared that his face twisted. He cried out begging, "Both, please don't come over here." Zhu Wuyan unconsciously gripped the hilt of the sword, closed his eyes and stammered. He swung a tangu with immense power, terrified, and shouted, "I'm afraid." That divine tango actually wiped out the demonic spirit commander. Along with countless demonic spirits under the command, none were left unscathed after Zhu Wuyan's attack. They were taken aback, unable to dodge, and one after another turned to dust, causing an entire sky full of demonic spirits to be completely obliterated due to Zhu Wuyan's outburst. Marshal Marcus Marshall and the soldiers gaped in astonishment, exclaiming, "What? With one strike, it's all over." These are all spiritual cultivation realm beings, only slightly weaker than the demonic spirit commander. Ling Tong, witnessing the scene, rubbed his chin and remarked, "Indeed, he is a true war god." Ken Zuan, leisurely observing the battle through the magic mirror, nodded and commented, "I already knew this war god would suit that brat perfectly." Although Zhu Wuyan's cultivation is currently non-existent, the strength of the war god cannot be measured by cultivation. He smiled and explained, "That's thanks to the intensity of the emotions of the wielder. As long as there are strong emotions, that person can unleash tremendous power." On the battlefield, Marshal Marcus Marshall excitedly shouted, "It seems this individual is indeed a war god." Mao Man joyfully echoed, "We are saved." Marshal Marcus Marshall happily turned to inquire of Mao Man, "What does this esteemed one like? Even though we are weak, we must show sincerity to the war god." Mao Man thought for a moment and hesitantly replied, "He seems to like marshal field soup." The marshal confidently said to Zhu Wuyan, "Esteemed one, if you can save the human race, we will offer you 100,000 acres of land." Hearing this generous reward, Zhu Wuyan's eyes lit up, and he immediately responded, 100,000 acres. Does that mean I can have rice to eat every day?" Suddenly, a deep voice emerged, "You can unleash the war god aura. It seems you might be the war god." The speaker was Liang, the one who had been standing next to Ling Tong earlier. He looked down on Zhu Wuyan and arrogantly introduced himself as Liang, a demonic spirit at the peak of the Dao Principle's realm. He provocatively challenged, "If you want to know whether you are truly the war god, you must first overcome my test." Zhu Wuyan energetically swung his spear and attacked Liang. He shouted loudly, his spirit radiant, "I am not afraid at all." Liang quickly blocked Zhu Wuyan's attack with one hand. He scoffed derisively, saying, "Except for your speed being a bit faster, how could you possibly touch me with just a spear?" He sneered, revealing a sinister expression, and commented, "How ridiculous." Zhu Wuyan unleashed his power and launched a powerful strike. At that moment, a brilliant light suddenly appeared, causing Liang to be caught off guard and sent flying for hundreds of feet. This attack was so powerful that it could shatter an entire sky. Marshal Marcus Marshall gave a thumbs up in excitement, exclaiming, "Such immense strength! It is this power that has annihilated the entire army of demonic spirits. The war god will surely win." Zhu Wuyan wiped his sweat away, sighing with relief and asking himself, "Is it over?" Unexpectedly, Liang burst into a fit of loud laughter. His hand darkened, accompanied by an eerie voice. His eyes shimmered with madness as he growled, "Do you think I am just some lowly soldier?" His body began to deform, becoming so bizarre it was unimaginable. Liang laughed joyfully. "My body harbors 100,000 demon clan parasites, fighting alongside me. You will have to kill me 100,000 times to defeat me." Seeing Zhu Wuyan stand there in shock, Liang became even more exhilarated. He grinned menacingly and said, "But by yourself, how do you plan to handle 100,000 parasites? My body has now grown 100 times larger than before. You won't be able to cope. Zhu Wuyan's face turned pale, displaying sheer terror as dread overwhelmed him. Liang quickly raised his arm, delivering a powerful blow. Zhu Wuyan did not have time to evade and was struck, flying away for hundreds of yards. Marshal Marcus Marshall, standing nearby, shouted loudly, his face filled with worry. Is this monster really this strong? Seeing Zhu Wuyan helpless under his strike, Liang sneered arrogantly, mocking, Is this all you are capable of, and you dare to call yourself a war god? He used his gigantic form to press his foot down on Zhu Wuyan, crushing him. Zhu Wuyan coughed, struggling to think. That's right, facing this level, I can't cope. Ling Tong, silently observing, spoke in a cold tone. Liang is the killing machine that I specifically trained to deal with the human race. Liang crazily punched Zhu Wuyan, each punch falling like rain. He roared, the sound echoing, Die. Ling Tong commented, his expression clearly satisfied. You are my creation, forged from the resentment of 100,000 fallen demon clan. Each technique carries within it their unparalleled hatred towards humanity. Zhu Wuyan remained motionless, enduring each fierce blow from Liang. The souls of countless demonic spirits appeared with each of his punches, each hit being a deadly blow to the soul. Mao Man urgently shouted, Wu Yan. But Marshal Marcus Marshall quickly intervened, his voice calm. This is not a battle we can participate in anymore. We can only trust the war god. At the same time, Liang swiftly grabbed Zhu Wuyan and threw him away with all his might. Zhu Wuyan was surrounded by Liang's demonic spirits, helplessly thinking, That's right, he is right. I cannot do this alone. He let his arms and legs be bound, lost in thought. Realizing the situation was escalating, Ling Tong impatiently commanded in a dull tone, Liang, kill him. Upon hearing the order, Liang obediently responded, then opened wide his mouth full of sharp, jagged teeth, ready to devour Zhu Wuyan. Zhu Wuyan remained silent, whispering. Therefore below, Marshal Marcus Marshall exclaimed in shock, War god noble person, hurry up, urgently call Wu Yan. In the most critical moment, Wu Yan awakened. He swung the Tang Gu fan, swiftly striking straight at Liang's face, causing him to gradually dissipate. It turned out that the reason he was silent was due to his calculations. Thus he shouted to Wu Hong Marshal, So 100,000 acres of land. I alone cannot farm all of it. I need to increase the workforce. Down here, everyone was dumbstruck, then in unison exclaimed, Look, Liang is gradually dissipating, and they are panic-stricken, shouting. He got killed again. Even Ling Tong was astonished by the outcome of the battle. Wu Yan continued to emphasize to him, Marshal Marcus noble person, you are right, 100,000 acres of land. I alone cannot cultivate it all. The man was dazed, stuttering as he didn't know how to respond. Then Wu Yan calmly replied, I am who I am, and I want a cow. Marshal Marcus Marshall was taken aback, replying, Senior, is that all? Your status could ask for more. And yet you are so simple-minded, asking for just one cow, and you are not even willing to demand more. I wouldn't even dare to ask for something so small in my dreams. Marshal Marcus Marshall continued with concern. No, even if I gave you one cow, you still couldn't manage it all. At this moment, Wu Yan straightforwardly said, Then I want 2 cows. He generously replied, I will give you 1,000 cows. Hearing this, Wu Yan joyfully made the deal. Betrayal, what an absurdity!